Today, we're going to talk about one of the smartest, most powerful ideas in all of modern AI. It's called transfer learning. And honestly, it's the secret sauce behind how AI models get so incredibly good so fast without always having to start from square one. So how does it all work? Well, before we even get into the machines, let's just think about us, you. How do you learn something new? Say you know how to ride a bicycle, and now you want to learn to ride a motorcycle. Do you forget what handlebars are for, or that balancing is kind of important? No, of course not. Exactly. You reuse all that foundational knowledge you already have about balance, steering, watching the road, and that makes learning the new skill way, way faster. That is the big idea we're diving into today. Because as it turns out, our machines can do the very same thing. And that's why we're calling this the smart shortcut, because that's really what transfer learning is. It's not about cheating. It's an intelligent, efficient way to build amazing AI without reinventing the wheel every single time. But you know what's wild? This shortcut has actually been around for a long time. The first paper on this for neural networks goes all the way back to 1976. That's basically ancient history in the AI world. The idea bubbled along for decades, but it really exploded in 2016 when the legendary AI pioneer Andrew Ng basically said, hey everyone, pay attention, this is going to be huge for business. So we know it's a big deal and it has a long history, but what is it really? Let's break it down and get a super clear definition. Okay, so here's the textbook version. It's a technique where a model that was trained to do one thing gets repurposed to do a second related thing. The key here is that it's not starting with a blank slate, a totally empty brain. It's starting with a solid foundation of knowledge that it can then adapt and build on. And this is the perfect, simple way to think about it. If you train a model to recognize cars, it's already learned to identify fundamental features, right? Things like wheels and windows and headlights. Well, that knowledge is directly useful when you then say, okay, great, now I want you to learn how to spot trucks. It already knows what the building blocks look like. And this seemingly simple idea of just reusing knowledge is what makes transfer learning a total game changer. So why has this concept had such a massive, massive impact on the entire field of AI? Well, just look at this comparison. It's really night and day. On the one hand, training a big AI model from scratch is just insane. You need gigantic data sets, it can take weeks of nonstop computing, and it burns a crazy amount of energy. But with transfer learning, you can take a model that's already been trained and just fine-tune it. You can do that with way less data in a fraction of the time. It's cheaper, it's faster, it's just so much more efficient. And this efficiency is exactly what Andrew Ng was talking about back in 2016. He saw that this was the key. Suddenly, you didn't have to be a tech giant with unlimited resources to build powerful, cutting-edge AI. It basically democratized high-performance AI, putting it in the hands of so many more developers and companies. Okay, so we know what it is and we know why it's so important, but where are you actually seeing this stuff out in the wild? Let's take a look at some real-world examples. I mean, the applications are all over the place. It's in stuff you use every single day, like the spam filter in your email or the systems that sort news articles by topic. But it's also powering these incredible breakthroughs in science and medicine, analyzing CAT scans, helping researchers discover different types of cancer. And then you get to the really mind-bending stuff, like systems that can connect brainwaves to actual muscle signals. The potential is just enormous. So where does all of this go from here? What's next for this whole field of machine learning? Because, like any powerful technology, it's not always the perfect tool for every single job. It's really easy to look at transfer learning and think it's some kind of silver bullet for AI. It's powerful, it's efficient, so why wouldn't you use it for everything? Well, it turns out the conversation among researchers is a little more nuanced than that. In fact, our source material points to a fascinating paper from 2020 that threw a bit of a wrench in the works. Researchers found that for certain tasks, using a pre-trained model could actually hurt the final accuracy. It's a phenomenon sometimes called negative transfer, where the old knowledge gets in the way of the new. It's a great reminder that the world of AI is always evolving, and today's best practice might be old news tomorrow. And that brings us right back around to where we started. Transfer learning, at its heart, is really just an attempt to copy a fundamental way that we humans learn so well. So as our machines get better and better at it, it leaves us with one last big question to think about. What's the next great leap in how we learn?